All right, welcome back to the Cannabis Podcast. It's been a while, and sorry about that on our part. Life gets in the way, and we were busy doing some things. I was busy finishing the touches on the new app, new website. Still kind of working out some kinks. But if you have a minute, please go check it out. Let us know your feedback in the comments. The cannabispodcast.app or the cannabisportal.com for everything cannabis. No, there's a lot of cool features. Create a profile, news, events, community chat. Check it out, browse, and moving on. So, how you doing? We got with us Phillip James Latham again to kick us back off at the end of May, beginning of June, going into the summer. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, man. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that we're almost in June already. It feels like this year has flown by. We're already almost halfway into the year. That's crazy.
That's
What a year. What a year
yeah.
it's been.
I blinked and it was May.
Yeah, no kidding.
And yeah, so there's a lot going on in the world, as we know. And there's a little new kitty behind me that I found. Anyway, let's start with some domestic things that are in the cannabis world, not in the um, world
Political sphere.
political sphere that I'm sure we're all aware of. By the way, tariffs are still a thing. But going back to what we're going to talk about, which is Virginia. The Virginia governor has vetoed a cannabis retail sales bill for the third year in a row. Virginia's governors vetoed a bill that would have established a legal and regulated market to buy and sell cannabis in Virginia. 2 years of vetoes from Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin had hoped that Democratic Governor Abigail Spanberger would be different. Spoiler alert, she's not. But after the General Assembly rejected her proposed revisions, she vetoed the bill. So, since tax revenue from legal marijuana sales would impact the budget, it's possible this issue reappears during budget negotiations in about a week or a month or so. If not, then Virginia is still going to have to wait. But Virginia cannabis, since July 2021, adults aged 21 and older have been permitted to possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis in public, share up to 1 ounce with another adult without remuneration, and cultivate up to 4 plants per household at their primary residence, subject to visibility, labeling, and security requirements. I'm sure that probably means they get access to your house at all times. But that's just speculative. I haven't read any of the bills. But this is from womblebonddickinson.com, but you can find it on Marijuana Moment, Cannabis Now. What do you think, Phil? This is home. This is close to you.
Sad day for my home state. I
Tell me.
mean,
Tell
I don't
me.
know. I don't know. Like, you know, birds of a feather, whatever, you know,
Block to a veto.
together, always hand in hand. I don't know. Like, definition of insanity, repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Like that's we talked about that before we started recording. It's like bashing your head against the wall, hoping that things are going to change. Like, is it possible for people to change? Sure, absolutely. Are they going to in the roles that they're playing in the game of, this legislative process? Probably not. And like, I don't know, from the time that I was still living in Virginia and had talked to one of the people that was in state government for the state that happened to play basketball with my dad back in the day, random connection. Uh, he had told me then, and this is like 2013, 2014. He's like, it's going to be completely vertically integrated. There's going to be four licenses for the whole entire like state and seed to consumer sale retail, it's all going to be like under, we're going to use the there's like health regions or something like that in Virginia, so it's split into like four. And I thought back to like the salt map that I had to make in elementary school. Random thought. But like in terms of how the state's divided, and I was like, I guess that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, isn't that like counter to capitalism's ethos of what it's supposed to be able to do free market wise? Like, why are we impeding a market from actually trying to gain traction? And one of the other funny things that I noticed in, I think it's this article, is like, we're trying to prevent the black market from, or people from, still profiting off the black market. It's like, dude, the whole market has been the black market until this was even considered to be re-legislated.
And
Nothing,
you know why
anyways.
it's the black market? Because we made it the black market because we
Right.
wanted it illegal, just like we wanted alcohol illegal, so then we could get more law enforcement, bigger budgets for police and law enforcement, DEA, IRS. People, it's a misconception that they outlawed cannabis and hemp. They didn't. They just taxed it out of existence. With the Marijuana Tax Act, was it 37, I think?
Yeah, I think that's right. Well, then I
And
mean, then you had the DEA and like
yeah,
Dare and
once you establish the DEA, but even then, the DEA enforces. They don't create laws.
sure. They have the schedule
Um,
though. The DEA, isn't the scheduling under the DEA's jurisdiction?
Scheduling is under the United Nations.
Oh, right. We talked about that before. Right.
We're just downstream of it in our jurisdiction,
Hmm,
but people don't think of it that way. When in
sure.
doubt, zoom out. You know, everyone, we're doing it now when 2 years before we did, the United Nations, which is us, and the World Health Organization rescheduled it 2 years before that during the Biden administration, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we talked about that when it happened.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't know what, it's like someone shows up to the seventh inning of a game and, you know, it's a tie game and they're like, oh, it's a good game. They don't know or it's a 20-point blowout and they're like, this is a blowout. And again, no, it just happened. It just that.
They just scored all those runs, dude. Like, where have you been for 7 innings? But
Right.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I will hope for the best for that state. I mean, this is kind of still one of the reasons I'm sort of glad I still live in California for, access to the thing that has a weed leaf and a exclamation point
Yeah.
next
No,
to
it's,
it. I don't
it's,
know.
it is a whole different vibe though. Like California as a culture, uh, which this is a great natural transition to the next article that we're going to just quickly talk about. We're just going to go over three quick articles, talk, and then not take much of your time, guys, because we appreciate it and we know it's busy out there making money, taking care of families, and trying to do whatever you got to do. So just thanks for joining us, and smash the like if you're enjoying us rambling, talking heads about cannabis. So. We're just wrapping up the last article. At the end, always remember, just go to the last paragraph in the article if you want to know really kind of a summarized blueprint. Because it says, however, on May 2026, Governor vetoed that legislation, citing concerns that the bill did not provide a sufficiently developed regulatory framework or adequate enforcement, compliance, or oversight mechanisms for a new cannabis marketplace. As a result, Virginia remains in the same position it's occupied since 2021, a jurisdiction that has legalized possession and home cultivation but has not authorized a functioning regulated retail market. And I have to add that everything is as planned and is not an accident. And I believe that they are slow rolling this and gaslighting the American public so that they can use that time to buy up the market while there's no regulations and vertically integrate everything. And by the time that that is legalized for retail sales, like me and you wanted to open a new storefront or a new home grow, the market's already saturated with corporate cannabis. Um, so, speaking of corporate cannabis, let's go to California, where Slick Rick Gavin Newsom, who passed Prop 64, which I guarantee you he's going to use in his political campaign
Presidential.
when he's running for president, which is, I mean, the timing for the cannabis issue, regardless of who the candidates are, is prime. And I don't know why. again, no matter who it is, why you wouldn't lean into the most 75% of the country now thinks it should be at least decriminalized or rescheduled. They don't care what your neighbor does because they don't have any money. They have bigger issues like
Keeping
WAR and genocides happening and PDF files hanging around schools.
grape
So,
soda and beef jerky.
yeah, grape soda and beef jerky and PDF files are dominating the news. So, we're trying
But
to,
Brett, you forgot the other thing that they gave us in this great time to be alive,
sorry.
the UFO files.
That's right. That's right. Um, yeah, I was worried about that. And actually, we do have to mention that they did some executive order about mushrooms. So, that's kind of cool, but I don't know what that was. But
Oh,
apparently,
the Ibogaine, Joe
yeah, but
Rogan
apparently,
not wearing a tie in the White House kind of situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on back to California, which has grossed in the first quarter of 2026, California's brought in 248 million in tax revenue during the first 3 months of 2026. Um,
That's
and
like,
the total includes since California legalized recreational marijuana sales in January 2018, the cannabis industry's generated more than $8.1 billion in state tax revenue. That includes 4.3 billion in cannabis excise taxes, more than 3 billion in sales taxes, 500 million in cultivation taxes before it was eliminated in 2022, which I was going to say we should have. But it funds a wide range of programs such as childcare, early childhood development, youth substance abuse prevention, Not Dare, which was a dramatic failure. Um, I'm pretty sure that lion was stoned. That's why he was so happy all the time. But that's just my personal fun narrative to go with. But what do you think while you're there in California, man? Can you feel the tax revenue? Like Colorado has free roads and
dude, it's raining cash in California. You didn't know?
I didn't
Yeah,
know.
right, dude. It's raining toxic everything in California, including policy. Like the fire's happening, it's getting close to some like private nuclear site or something messed up in Simi Valley. Like this state is the Garden Grove thing that just happened like a couple days ago, where like, oh hey, by the way, this like messed up chemical plant might explode. You should probably get out of your house. Sorry.
Mm.
Not our bad. Our bad. We should probably have not allowed the zoning for that to happen. But like, what are you gonna do? All the chemicals are there, and it could like really mess you up if you touch it. Because it's used,
Oh,
it's like chemicals to make paper or something, but they make like aerospace parts. I don't know. I haven't like gotten into the weeds on this, so like I'm just kind of spitballing off of like headlines from mainstream stuff.
right.
Anyways,
So
only
he,
only to say that yeah, the state in its cannabis policies, while I can laud it in some regards, it
well,
ain't
here's
it ain't the
here's what's
West.
interesting about that. Since they've brought in $8.1 billion in cannabis tax revenue, California carries one of the largest state government debts in the country with 112 billion um, currently. California's Outlook estimates a $73 billion budget deficit for 2024 and 25, up from 100 billion surplus just 2 years earlier. So, but that was 2019. And you want to know why that was?
Why, Brett?
Because during COVID, the tax stimulus that he got was about $50 billion Gavin Newsom got. You can verify all this. You can just go Google it. During his recall campaign, he did not distribute it yet and touted a, guess how much?
50?
$50 billion surplus and won his recall election, then distributed it, and the real budget appeared, which is 100 billion. So he not only went from a $50 billion surplus, he's now at over a $100 billion deficit or $70 billion deficit, excuse me. So what with the sixth or greater largest economy in the
Hmm.
world
Yeah.
and one of the top two that, what, and he's going to
Uh,
be running for president in 2028, if not the foregone Democratic nominee already. Uh,
he's the World Economic
yeah.
Forum.
I mean,
What's his next?
he's,
Young global leader.
yeah, I don't know. My guess would be his VP would be Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan.
The
Um,
one that faked her own abduction. That one.
exactly. Exactly. So you see the ties. So you know who's on the same team.
Yeah, they're both
Um,
scumbags. Yeah,
yeah.
got it. Got it.
Team
Got it. Got it.
scumbag. Woo! Uh, that's a big team. That's a big team, by the way.
Most of
Um,
them. I bet they enjoy some grape soda and jerky at
but I
times.
have to say, though, I want to reiterate that is a big team, but it's not as big as a team as the good guys. Like, really. And I really believe that, especially in the cannabis world. The plant is meant to heal and bring people together, which is why it was mentioned in the EP Stein files multiple times, saying we're the hardest to manipulate. No joke, that cannabis people are the hardest to manipulate because they exude love and free thinking ability. Um,
Can't
that's
have
their
that.
that's
Can't have
their
that.
words, not mine. Uh, Never thought I'd be quoting the Epstein files. Um,
That's new to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's interesting, unless that's fake, but which it could be. But that
What's
was,
real anymore? What's real? How do you know if something's real?
well, you know what's real? Germany imported over 218 tons of legal cannabis in 1 year.
That sounds like a lot.
That is a lot.
Because, like, how much do you think Snoop Dogg smokes in a year?
217 tons.
So that's 1 ton for all the rest of Germany? I'll
He-
consider it.
he's hey, they call it going Dutch. No, that's Holland.
That's
Maybe I'm
Holland.
stoned. Um,
Maybe. It's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. It's a Thursday night at 11:30. And if you're thinking about it and you're enjoying us rambling, smash a like, subscribe, share with a friend, check out thecannabisportal.com and let us know your thoughts. Or don't and have a blessed day anyway. Um, but Germany imported, do you want to read this or you want me to?
I'll have a go at it.
Do it.
Germany's 218-ton cannabis import surge signals European market. Boom. Germany's
Boom.
emerged as Europe's cannabis powerhouse, importing more than 218 tons of legal cannabis over the past year. This massive volume positions Germany as one of the world's largest legal cannabis markets outside of North America. Dum da dum, America for the win. Creating substantial opportunities. Actually, I guess Canada might also fall into the North American cannabis consumer, and I guess Mexico too. So, like, we just out here consuming the weeds in North America. That's cool. Creating substantial opportunities for international suppliers and highlighting the rapid maturation of European cannabis demand. Import figures reflect Germany's robust medical cannabis program, which has expanded dramatically since legalization. German patients now access cannabis through approximately 2,000 pharmacies nationwide, with monthly patient registrations continuing to climb. This infrastructure development has created predictable demand patterns that international cultivators can target for consistent revenue streams. That's good. So they're actually, supply and demanding it. German cannabis imports primarily originate from established markets, including Canada, the Netherlands, and Portugal. They did say where it comes from. Canadian licensed producers have captured significant market share, leveraging their GMP certified facilities and regulatory expertise. The standardized European import requirements have favored large operators with established quality systems over smaller regional players. Fine print. The little guy is getting fucked out of this whole situation.
Yep.
The volume surge coincides with Germany's recent adult use legalization framework, which allows personal possession and home cultivation while maintaining strict commercial restrictions. Medical demand and continues driving current import volumes, but the regulatory shift signals potential for expanded market access as policymakers evaluate controlled commercial distribution models. Germany's import appetite creates ripple effects across Europe and their cannabis markets. establishing price benchmarks and supply chain standards that influence neighboring countries developing their own programs. Sustained volume growth demonstrates that European cannabis demand has moved beyond experimental phases into established market dynamics, providing international operators with clear expansion targets and revenue visibility in the world's second largest economic region. So Germany's
Was
coming
that
to play.
that was
Germany
Cannabis
is
Now, right?
that is cannabismarketcap.io.
Oh, cannabismarketcap.io. Check that out also. Let me send you this.
That might be just a link that I clicked that's different than what you had sent me originally. So apologies if that was a different source.
No, no, no. Check there's another spot about Germany social clubs. Did that one touch on it?
No, I just read the whole article. That was the whole thing.
Okay. So if you go to cannabisnow.com, Germany imported over 218 tons. But home cultivation and cannabis clubs are a thing in Germany. Another factor to consider is the rise of those. Presumably, uh, well, Germany people can residents can cultivate up to 3 cannabis plants in their private residence. Presumably, some amount of adult medical cannabis patients who relied on imported products are now cultivating their own. Safe to say there's an impact. Adults in Germany have another way through medical cannabis system. They can apply to launch non-commercial cultivation system, like you said. But like you said, it boils down to these clubs, non-commercial. So you're allowed to have a social club, but you can't make money off it. You know, it's just like you said, another place where, and Germany's like the leading European cannabis country.
Them in France.
Them in France, and everyone thinks it's Holland. It's not. It's just decriminalized in Holland. It's not, you know, taxed and all that kind of stuff. It's just like local businesses doing their thing.
And actually, China is the dominant hemp player
Yep.
as well.
For exports, for sure.
Mhm.
Uh,
And
which
actually,
is,
I found out India is actually a big hemp exporter too.
yeah.
So yeah, anyways,
Um,
yeah, Germany's going to play, baby. And their whole LNG gas pipeline getting blown up and creating all the energy turmoil that did with the Russia-Ukraine thing. Now we got some other war shit to be worried about with oil and Middle Eastern people and terrorists. Even though actually I did see Tucker going on Israeli TV, wagging his finger at the Israeli host, going, "You better not be throwing that T word around there, guy."
that was
And
very,
I was like, nice.
he's been, regardless of what you think of Tucker, he's been doing some really interesting interviews with, I think he's, again, just analytically wise, I think he's disclosing a lot of things in a very intentional manner, uh, very, very controlled manner.
I mean, his dad worked for the agency. I mean,
Right.
Apple didn't fall far, but I can also respect
Oh, the
somebody.
apple's still on the tree.
Yeah.
So,
But at the same token, I can appreciate and respect someone actually like, speaking truth to
sure.
the reality that I understand and being like, holy shit, like most people don't talk about things like that. Thank you. And,
Yeah.
not necessarily being like, oh, Tucker Carlson came from a guy I don't like. Who cares ultimately at the end of the day?
Right.
Like this is why like in a conversation I had with somebody, this is like years ago now, but first time meeting them, another Hollywood industry person, and they were like, so like, what do you like? What kind of media do you consume? I was like, I read everything from like HuffPo to Breitbart, and he was like, what? And I was like, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, damn, that person looks at the spectrum and understands
Right.
that there's spin and narrative control that come from both directions, and you end up somewhere in the middle. They were like aghast. They're like, oh my God, you read Breitbart. It's like, because
Well,
sometimes, like, yeah, sure, why not? Like,
what you explained was literally analysis work. Like that's what they do in the government. That's what they do in military intelligence. That was my major, political science. That's what you do. is you read every available source, find the common threads, and then weigh probability versus possibility.
Which also, by the way, not that I'm sponsored or have any like monetary gain from this plug, but grounded.news,
Right.
independently funded, and they do all that analysis stuff for you so that you know the direction it's coming from, what the, adjective free article might sound like, et cetera,
Here's
et
what's
cetera.
cool. Here's the greatest source, archives.gov.
That's a good
You
one.
put that into an AI and say, hey, summarize this for me. You want to summarize a 1900 New York Times article about missing tech. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
And then you get a picture of 1900 New York City and an electric scooter. And it's like a girl, a lady dressed like a 1900s flat or whatever, and she's on an electric scooter that we are just now utilizing to the
They
fullest of
had,
our.
dude, they had a battery powered car in like the 30s or like 20s,
Yeah,
whatever.
so
The
you know,
GN the
go
GNs were the GNs were coming in the 50s because we'd already mastered gravity tech because that was the next frontier. And by the way, if you haven't seen this movie that I did, The Lost Century, we talk about all of that in that film.
if you weren't going to plug it, I was going to plug it. So,
Dude,
um,
also,
and
but
this is
crazy
for
though.
entertainment purposes only. This is just not financial advice. This is entertainment purposes, but not. Yeah, go ahead.
So one of my favorite shows that I watch pretty regularly is put on by a guy named Richard Grove. It's called Grand Theft World. So I don't know why that escaped me. But Scott Armstrong, who's the current co-host of that show, he went on and found somebody that is literally making these over Unity devices and doing it on Instagram and showing people how to do it themselves. I was so stoked. I was like, oh my God. And they talk about a bunch of people that were in the Lost Century. And I'm like, okay, clearly, and like they did have some not so nice things to say about like the main spokesperson of that film, who shall remain nameless in this particular conversation. But anybody that's ever heard talk before probably knows who it is.
Sure.
Anyways, they were like, can't believe him. And I'm like, whatever, everybody's got their opinion. But they also referenced Tom Bearden, uh, John Hutchison, who else? Um, uh, Joseph Newman, and like all the inventors, Stan Myers, like all these people that were in the film. And I'm like, I'm so happy right now because this is the other thing that I've been saying to people recently is I'm like, look, if the time was not right for some kind of technological revolution to happen, you have the alien stuff coming out. You have more people coming hip to the fact that like there is this whole other like technological reality that exists right now. And we're going through the energy crisis that we are, whether you're, starting to talk, Ukraine, Russia energy problems to now China and their role in what's going on in the Middle East and
Strait of
po-
Hormuz.
power playing in that region or whatever. I
Data centers
cannot.
using electricity.
That was going to be the last little thing that I was going to check in terms of why this technology could literally completely revolutionize the planet and like humans' existence
Well, and the
going
fact
forward.
that Bill Gates said he wanted to block out the sun.
Solar radiation management, go fuck yourself. Bye bye.
Bro, what
I hate
like
that guy. I
at
hate that guy.
what point do you smash the like button and leave a comment and subscribe? Uh,
Right now,
to-
right now,
right
right
now,
now.
click it or ticket. But at what point you know what one of my favorite videos is when Bill Gates got a pie in his face from like 1995 or something? Like, where's that? Like,
Well, where's that?
well, Luigi did that. That's Luigi.
Don't ask my question. Don't, or the guy that fucking Molotov Sam Altman's house, like thinking that that was going to do anything. It's like, you know, for all of the like, don't kill. Start there.
And then, yeah,
Murder is wrong and it's a crime, and ultimately you'll be judged by the creator or the creators or whatever your next evolution, considers the afterlife to be. There's going to be a judgment on what you did in your time in the fucking meat suit in 3D. Killing is not something that I think gains you bonus points. That said, accountability came a knocking, and it just
Well,
happened to
it's
come out of the end of a 3D printed gun.
the right. Well, it's accountability in the next life because apparently they're not getting it in this one. I don't know how that works, but there's a time, and we, like you said, with enough people on social media, on linking, on leaking stuff, just it's a matter of time. Is it an hour time? I don't know. I
Yes,
hope, I think
2030,
so.
it's all coming to a head at 2030. I know, oh, conspiracy 2030, Agenda 20, like
No, it is,
the book that I'm
if
reading,
not before.
the book that I'm reading literally called this out, like, and this book is from like the 70s. 2030 is like the time where like that Hopi prophecy thing, like we either fizzle out or we go on forever. I'm so down to go on forever. And it's also not to say that those timelines don't both simultaneously happen. Because there's other, like, I can't remember what I was watching. There was like some video or something. This lady was like, the new Earth is manifesting right now.
Mm.
And like the guy was like, well, what do you mean the new Earth? Like a new physical place? She's like, yeah, and there's only going to be certain people that like are tuned in that know that that's happening that get to join that party, and the other people, like, I don't know, they don't go to New Earth. What happens to them? They stay on old Earth and likely get plugged in to the Matrix, a la, you know, Neo and his, towers of people powering machines.
Yeah, it's interesting because the the AI and cannabis worlds infrastructure of both is where fortunes will be made. I don't know how much retail, meaning us, I don't know how much retail has a chance at making, like in the past, like cannabis industry, for example, like you could go create a hat store, you know, what I mean, open a hat store or open a grocery or whatever, or small
Mhm.
family farm, which are now being decimated. But, and then add
Bill
that
Gates,
with,
Bill Gates bought all those.
well, and that's the thing, you add cannabis on top of that. Not only are you a small family farm, you're now a heavily regulated, federally illegal small family farm, which one wrong move, if you blink the wrong way, they can take everything. And so, how is that conducive to anything that's in our, that we were taught is in our ethos about freedom and manifest destiny and, you know, n not so much, and farming. Like we were farmers, you know, other than the murder and stuff. And
Extermination of the native people still not okay in my 2026 white guy perspective, but
but even in this, I mean, everyone knows the South was farmers. They didn't work the fields, but they had slaves and, but they were farmers. Uh, in the end of the day, the North was the industrial part. And it's just interesting how that all played out. Because now you have industrialized farms, and that's what that was. Like, if in a way, people don't think of it that way, that there was the industrialization of the farms. You removed, think about, I mean, that's a good removal of, people from jobs and not slavery, but that's, now they have machines that pick up all this stuff, which is great, like, but that's, now if you have that in, where is it? Dole fruit, what fruit
oh, I'm
company?
I'm very familiar with the Dole. Like, Dole ended up being one of like the enemy of the country of Costa Rica.
Yes. What was the something fruit company? United Fruit Company. That's
United,
what it
yeah,
was.
United Fruit Company. Yeah, dude, the lady that I lived with was one of the biggest activists against Dole Banana when I was playing soccer down there.
It's
She, that United Fruit Company is the fundamental foundational reason she refuses to learn English.
fair enough.
How about that?
I mean, fair enough. Like what would your experience be?
Dude, when we had a conversation about it when I was down there, I was like, I have so much respect for the stance that you've taken.
I
Like,
mean, you know, it's similar a little bit more. prejudice in a way, but also kind of not. World War II veterans, being, anti-Japan, and what if you're
I got Japanese people in my family, dog. Like people like two relationships away from me were in the camps.
same.
Like, and again, this also goes to say like having a moral and ethical compass that guides you through your existence is an important thing to carry. So is critical thinking, and so is like, common sense. But
It's kind
like
of the only thing to carry, really.
back to your whole like, weed smokers are the hardest people to control. It's like, yeah, because they operate from a defined core sentiment of like, I
A
am
higher frequency.
literally. But that said, anybody that doesn't have a problem with what's going on right now over in uh the place that is real, I would also say the treatment of the people that they are invading is just as bad as the way that we treated as a American military people at Abu Ghraib.
Oh, yeah. I
The,
mean,
the
the whole
like
Guantanamo Bay thing and Abu Ghraib and we're getting in the weeds now, so if you're still with us, I appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank you for staying with us on our rant.
because it's gonna have to end here soon because
Yeah, Thursday night rant. Check out all the cannabis articles. California, 250 million revenue in the first quarter. Virginia governor is a biatch and
can't
vetoed the
can't get out of
bill.
their own way.
And Germany's killing it with industrial clubs and social clubs. So there's your video wrapped up into once. And here's bonus time. Uh,
Yeah.
so, and unfortunately, a lot of cannabis tech comes out of a place that is real. So, Cushy Punch was a big thing that came out of there, and then they came and went because they were cutting a lot of corners. But
Why it
if,
tasted so good. Had all that corn
yeah,
syrup and shit in it, or equivalent
li-
of.
listen, there's nothing in this world that isn't, show me a clean dollar and I'll show you a washing machine. Um,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, there's so much stuff going on that I think most people just want to grow, not in it. I think most people would be okay growing their own food, growing their own cannabis if they want to. They don't have to, obviously, but people don't want to conquer the world. They just want to live, create families, and make money. And
The last point I'm going to end on. This was this will kind of tie everything together. The end of the lost century, spoiler alert, and what you just said are this essentially the same. The small community-based gardens, businesses, functional of a localized society is going to have to be the way that we move forward. But with the implementation and the providing of 0 point energy or free energy tech or whatever it ends up being termed in the ether in the ether of what's going to happen, like that will be how humanity can like just do whatever it wants, because at the end of the day, like you'll have teleportation and all this sorts of crazy stuff, but like right now you're like, oh, Star Trek, it's probably not that far off. Before
Star
you and
Wars
I
is
die,
close. Star Wars is
dude,
close.
buddy of mine believes we're living in Star Wars right now. The Force is real, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That said,
Talking about me again.
you and the other guy.
All
Uh,
right, I'm in the Millennium Falcon with him.
you, me, and Chewbacca. There were the three of us and Chewbacca. Yeah, and Grogu because he's cool. Uh, but yeah, like that's gonna have to be, in my opinion, the way society carries forward successfully. Government will go away and kind of cease to be the power institution that it is right now. Structurally, that whole system has to collapse. Humanity can't like it won't survive. They're either trying
They're
to like kill
they're
everybody
trying
off
to
or
press they're trying to press us down like
Mhm.
when you're pressing wax out of a cannabis, right? And it seeps out the sides. They're trying to squeeze us out so we accept anything that they give us in the end. And I would beg people not to just accept anything they give us. It's like they pass a bad bipartisan bill and they say, well, a, a, a bad bill is better than no bill. Like, no, no, it's not. How making things worse is not the same as keeping things the way they are.
True.
And if you're not
I'd
going to
rather,
make anything better, at least don't make it worse. So,
amen.
but
Amen.
I don't think they get that message. But to that message, we're resetting to community of your neighbors of, hey, buy some land. I just visited my niece, or my niece just visited here, and she was like, hey, how would you feel about potentially just, kind of going in on some land with, a couple plots of land where we make a garden and a greenhouse and this kind of, I was like, that's a great idea. Like, let's explore that more, and also not financial or life advice, but if you take that center of the plot of that land and gift it to somebody and then make it a cemetery, it's now tax deductible. It's a 501c13. Trump did it on his golf course where he buried his ex-wife. That's where I don't recommend doing that, who his wife died by blunt force trauma to the stomach. Not suspicious at all. Uh, that you just then
Neither
immediately bury
neither is
her on
neither
the
is gra
green of hole nine. And so the
he grabs them. He's in the files. He was probably grape sodaing himself
right.
at
This
some
is
point.
Ivanka Sandtrap. Um,
Oh,
or Ivana, sorry.
probably says that on the map.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's
gross.
just crazy. It's just crazy that, you know, I don't like when people that are corrupt are telling us in the cannabis world, well, like the Virginia governor, I vetoed it because it's doesn't prevent corruption. You're like,
Doom- Sure, guy. Sure. Good one.
you are the corruption. Like it's like at night, it's like when you think like, I think it's Jim and Jeffries stand up and he's like the people that fucking carry all the time. And he's like always like ready and go. And he's like, what life are you living? And he's like, who do you think's behind you? Like trying to get you. And it's like, who do you think
Well,
these drug dealers are if they're not the US government? You take the US government involvement out of drugs, do you think there's a drug trade? Do you think these commercial local people create this international drug trade without the help of any established government?
Dope Inc. The British, what is it? The
Well, I mean, I guess the East India Trading Company already did it once, but what are you gonna do?
great, good book, by the way.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, check out all the local news. Actually, you can do that on the Cannabis Podcast app, cannabisportal.com. You can check out news, events. You can drop a chat in the community, 18 and up, of course. Um,
You
no
got
selling,
job postings.
distributing. What's that?
You got job postings.
We have job
Living.
postings, events. You can post an event. You can post a job posting. You can create a business and user profile and talk with each other and build a community. Because if we're going to sit here and preach about community, we got to be doing something. So check out the app and the new designed website. It's kind of in beta. Um, I'm not a beta. It's in beta. Um, just kidding.
It's in like Charlie phase. You're out of beta.
Ooh. Um,
Ooh, I don't. Ooh,
ooh.
sorry.
Ooh.
Delta phase. You're willing to change.
Ooh. Subtle. Subtle. But yeah, um that's
I
a
don't
rabbit
buy.
hole. That's a rabbit hole.
I don't.
You know what? That's on the next podcast.
Deal.
That's on a different podcast, maybe on our Patreon or something where more than two people might listen.
If you want to
Uh,
know about that whole situation, Candace Owens has been doing a lot of interesting work on it, and so is the lawyer dude. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's a white dude lawyer that
and
has all
Jimmy
his like,
Dore.
and Jimmy Dore too. Jimmy Dore also kind of like plugs off their work because, but like
Right, right.
Kurt's also like Kurt is keen. So is
There's
Jimmy.
a lot of good independent journalists out
Yeah,
there.
but yeah,
And also be careful you're not reading AI or watching AI. And, and even if you are, enjoy it. You know,
or
no,
don't.
or don't.
Gen Z hates AI apparently. So
Or if you see it, just report it as inappropriate. That's what I do. I swear, whenever I see like a Chase Bank ad or anything like any big corporation I hate, I report it. I report the ad as inappropriate.
do you like this? Is this for you? No.
Nope, 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 nope. But thanks
On
for
that
joining
note,
us. Thanks for chatting it up on a Thursday, where we went into the weeds about a bunch of different articles. But there is a lot of cannabis news going on. We are currently in Schedule 3, and check out The Lost Century and other new. What's your newest documentary?
newest one would be Missing 411 National Parks, Washington State. We did some interviews with friends and family and people connected to cases of missing people up in the two national parks. Uh, Sad, fascinating, weird circumstances in terms of disappearances and what they were all about. And then the other last one that's still kind of making some rounds is American Sasquatch, Man, Myth, or Monster. Fun fact, Dave Paulides, who is the main guy in both of those films, was just on Joe Rogan, I think, last week, and he's already in the top 10% of all of Rogan's episodes. It's got like 2 point something million views across a couple platforms. So it was a interesting interview for sure.
Not gonna
I
lie, I
think
haven't watched a solid episode of Rogan in a very long time. I've watched some clips, because they pop up and
sure
stuff like that. But
that was the first one I had watched in a long time. And like honestly, insider baseball, but like Joe went into it with a very mm,
cool.
rigid framework of understanding it. But by the end, I think Dave, learned him some things. That's a kind of nice way to diplomatically put
Learned, he got
what
learned.
happened.
Sorry, I keep looking around because
It's all good. The cat's probably doing something
the kitty
crazy.
takes. I tried to grab her to say hi, but then she jumped away.
It's all good.
Um, but now I just hear something and I don't know what it is. So, um, let me know some cat tips, catnip and cat tips.
You got it.
But
We got time for
thanks for joining us again on another episode of Cannabis Podcast with philosophies attached to it. And until the next time, stay blessed and don't forget to tip your bud tenders.
that.